I feel like UNRWA. I say I'm working, but I really don't. UNRWA is like my left sock. You know it exists, but it's just never there when you need it. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony, but everything changed when UNRWA came to help. So tonight we're going to talk about UNRWA, an agency created for the sole purpose of preventing refugees from Israel from being resettled. I mean, Israel must be in pretty great shape, because she's 75 years old, and everyone still wants to screw her.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Really, I'll explain. The first thing you need to understand is that the UN already has an agency responsible for helping refugees. It's called UNHCR. UNHCR has an evil, or retarded, you decide, twin called UNRWA, which is responsible for Palestinian refugees only. So there's one agency for Palestinians and another for the whole rest of the human species. Guess which one is better staffed and funded? You guessed right, it's the evil one. UNHCR is responsible for 65 million people and has a budget of $58 per person. UNRWA is responsible for 5.3 million people and has a budget of $246 per person. No wonder their refugee camps are nice towns without any actual refugees in them. Hey, we've made a whole video about this and it's a doozy. Now, while UNHCR has resettled tens of millions of refugees all over the world in the last 70 years, UNRWA, which employs 3 times as many people, was unable to resettle a single refugee in its entire history. Not one. Horrifying. Worse, the 800,000 Arab refugees under its care increased to 5.6 million, making it the only refugee agency in the history of the world to fail so spectacularly it actually increased the number of refugees it was supposed to resettle. It's like inviting someone to seal a hole in your roof, only to discover they've shot your roof full of holes and are already busy drilling holes in the walls. What the hell? Do you want another example? At about the same time as the Arab Nakba, their allies, the Germans, experienced a Nakba of their own. By the way, Nakba is an Arabic term for trying to genocide the Jews and failing miserably. After the war, approximately 14.6 million ethnic Germans were expelled or fled from East Central Europe into Allied occupied Germany. Why are they German citizens and not German refugees living in refugee camps in Germany? Why aren't their grandchildren called refugees? Where is the German resistance in Poland? Yeah, okay, this one may be true. Do you want more examples? Fine. Turkey expelled 1.2 million Greeks in 1923. Algeria expelled 1 million Frenchmen and all its Jews in 1963. Bhutan threw out all its ethnic Nepalis, almost 70% of the population, in the 80s and 90s. And Kuwait expelled all its Palestinians in 1991. None of these people are considered refugees since they all have since been resettled. Seems like there are refugees and then there are Palestinian refugees. Now, I don't know about you, but this Jordanian kid, who for some reason is called a Palestinian refugee, doesn't look 75 to me. Unless she's an elf. Maybe, just maybe, she didn't flee Palestine in 1948. Maybe she is a Jordanian kid living in Jordan and playing with an old key. You know, because these guys are all about made-up keys, apparently. If this 6-year-old Jordanian citizen can be called a Palestinian refugee and her Jordanian city can be called a Palestinian refugee camp because her late grandmother fled from home when she was a little girl, then shouldn't you be able to park in a handicapped spot because your grandfather injured his leg in an accident before cars were invented? But wait, this gets crazier. According to the UN website, resettlement is the only durable solution that involves the relocation of refugees from an asylum country to a third country. However, this rule only applies to lesser non-Palestinian refugees. Palestinians remain refugees forever, and so do their children and their children's children until the end of time. They absolutely can't be resettled anywhere except where their ancestors lived. You know, like Dracula can only sleep in soil from Romania. Yes, that's right. According to UNRWA, any person with an ancestor who left mandatory Palestine in 1948 is a refugee, no matter how well and deeply they are settled. Many people are considered refugees despite being residents or citizens of other countries in which they were born, in which they have jobs and homes and lives, and in which their parents were born. Wow, there are refugees and there are aristocratic refugees. Aristogees? At the same time, millions of Jewish refugees in the 20th century didn't receive a penny from the United Nations, and there was never a United Nations organization to support them. Nor did anyone say they must be resettled in the countries they were expelled from. Now, remember the Jordanian kid from before? Jordan is an exception. 90% of Palestinian refugees living in Jordan are full citizens. Other Arab countries are unwilling to grant citizenship to their fellow Arabs who fled from Palestine or their descendants. I wonder why no one is talking about this. Apartheid? However, most are willing to grant them residence and work permits. So in practice, all these people were resettled decades ago, but are treated as second-class citizens by their Arab brothers and sisters to appease UNRWA. So why does UNRWA hate Palestinians? Why does it prevent them from moving on with their lives? Why does it insist on keeping them as second-class citizens and poisoning their children with hate? The answer might shock you. Dinosaur out, yo!